Good evening, everyone. I'm Krishna Karwa, a senior research analyst with iFast Financial India Private Limited. The topic for today is Axis Global Innovation Fund of Fund, NFO. To talk more about this, let me now invite Mr. Shane Vaz, who is a senior products manager with Axis AMC, to shed some more light on this subject. Without further ado, over to you, Shane.
Hi, Krishna, and thanks for having us. It's a very exciting time for us. We've launched the Global Innovation Fund. This is, in continuation with our overall AMC theme of thinking globally and investing locally as well. As retail investors, we've always been taught that equity is a very, very important part of investor portfolios. But seldom do we realize that India is a very, very small part of the entire global landscape. And to that extent, we embarked on this journey in 2018. And what we've seen and what we've been met with is some resounding success on international investing. So along with Schroders, our JV partner, we've launched, this is our 5th fund now. And basically the idea about this fund is to target disruption that has become a big theme, especially in the COVID environment. And a lot of the disruption can be seen in India. And to that extent, we realize that Indians are really keen on disruption, and hence we've launched, the Disruption Fund. It's called the Innovation Fund, but basically the theme is disruption.
Okay. Seems like an interesting product, and even more so at a time where when we've seen global investing gaining immense traction. And one such flagship product which you already have is the Axis Global Equity Alpha Fund of Fund, which of course has registered really good inflows till date. So how different is this Global Innovation Fund vis-a-vis that product? So can you shed some light on that?
Yeah. So the Global Alpha Fund was our first fund of fund offering. And basically the objective was to carry on the success of the Growth Opportunities Fund, which gave a primer to Indian investors about investing in the international markets. The Global Alpha Fund of Fund is basically a large cap strategy from the Schroders basket of the global, international selection funds. And it has been a very, very successful fund for them internationally. And we thought that for Indian investors who are looking at the international piece, what better than to launch a product that has truly global coverage. And to that extent, we had launched, I think we were among the first few companies, asset management companies, to target the overseas global space rather than specific countries or sectors and so on and so forth. So the Global Alpha is a very, very tight best ideas, opportunities, large cap opportunities fund, very attuned to the Axis investment philosophy of quality, growth, so on and so forth. With that fund, while we've had tremendous success, we also realized that investors are now moving on to more innovative solutions, and that is where the global innovation comes in. And what is the hallmark of this strategy is that unlike the Alpha Fund, which is very tight, this is a more diversified strategy. So it's got a more multi-cap approach. We've got some mid and small cap companies in there, which are very interesting. And what Schroders is trying to achieve with this fund, very novelly, I might add, is to generate that bit of alpha through identifying the next big trend. So they've identified 9 themes that they believe are the next game-changing, platforms for the world. And on that basis, they've kind of identified, some cutting-edge companies that they've participated in. And that is what makes this fund very, very unique. We believe that a combination of both the Alpha Fund and the Innovation Fund should give a holistic investment approach or holistic investment value for investors looking for overseas allocation.
Absolutely, and that's pretty interesting as well. So you are diversifying by including mid and small caps, and
Yeah.
also looking at themes that are particularly relevant
Yeah,
from
yeah,
this point on.
yeah.
So
So
sounds good.
I think what we're trying to do here is
Hmm.
to adapt to the way investors are now, or rather consumers like you and me are now participating in the global ecosystem, right? So today, for example, we the way we shop, the way we consume products, the way we even invest for that matter, have materially changed. And that degree of innovation, that degree of disruption is now affecting every part of our life cycle, right? So the same way we want to also have solutions which have got an investment appeal in favor of these type of themes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to take this conversation further, has the mother fund managed to outperform its benchmark?
Yeah. So the fund is relatively new.
Mhm.
So it was launched in, I think, December of 2018. And since then, the disruption theme has worked very well. In some sense, I think COVID has played a very, very important role, because digital transformation has completely just taken off, with everyone being staying indoors and investing investing a lot of their time and resources and energy communicating through digital mediums and participating through digital mediums. So I think that way it has worked very, very well for this fund. And I think this is part of a larger trend where you see that shift. So this fund has really done well, and we believe it will continue to do well for the foreseeable future.
Okay. And which new geographies would the mother fund essentially be looking at? There is a fair bit of exposure to Asia Pacific and emerging markets as well. So the trends on those fronts appear bullish. So some insights on those fronts will be really useful as well.
Yeah. So like I mentioned to you, it's a completely global strategy, and unlike some of our other competition, we believe that rather than targeting a specific geography, because what one must understand is that the Indian investor is looking to diversify internationally, and giving him another country specific, geography specific, or even a sector specific may not always add to that deconcentrationization. I mean, so I mean that kind of thing is something that we didn't want to kind of follow, and that is why this strategy is very unconstrained, very global in nature. You're right in saying that emerging markets is an interesting theme, but to some extent, the emerging market theme is played very well in India, and hence some interesting ideas across South America, some continental Europe. There are some excellent companies that are based out of Poland, Norway, and the like, which typically Indian investors may not participate in through some of the other offerings. So there are a lot of ideas that are there, and we are focusing a little, or the approach to identifying funds is more bottom up in that sense.
Okay. So the geographic composition can change from time to time,
Yes, very
depending on
unconstrained.
the opportunities available.
Yeah.
Okay, so no apparent benchmarks in terms of the exposure to regions per se.
Largely, the ideal benchmark is the MSCI ACWI, which we are targeting, and
Okay.
it is a very large benchmark. So it's got almost 3,000 companies there, and across the world, a very, very widely tracked companies and the benchmark itself. So it gives you almost an adequate flavor. But yes, it is an unconstrained fund, so can pivot very, very rapidly.
Okay. Shane, another important observation is that there has been this transition from growth stocks to value ones. And more often than not, in the innovation space, stocks get classified as growth. So could this be a sort of a dampener in the near term, considering that a lot of these growth stocks are already trading at very elevated valuations?
Right. Very, very pertinent question, I might add. The trajectory of growth has slackened off a little bit for obvious reasons. I mean, COVID was not a very good event for growth stocks, right? So to that extent, it has been a little bit of a dampener. But what is interesting to note is that growth over the last 10, 15, 20 years has been the only wealth generator. And we as wealth managers are targeting those type of companies, and it has worked very, very well for us. What is also interesting to note is that these companies, despite a lot of negative headwinds, have continued to deliver spectacular numbers. So whether you look at some of the large cap bellwethers in the technology space, or you see even some of these up and coming companies, in these themes that we spoke about, the 9 sub themes that Schroders has identified, you've seen some spectacular returns there, and that speaks volumes for the robustness of these companies. And as investors, you are anyway looking at a 5-year investment strategy. So a short-term underperformance may only bode well for you to add more. And that is why I think this fund, the timing couldn't have been done any better.
Yes. And in fact, this could be an opportune time for everyone to start off SIPs when growth has taken a backseat of sorts temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah.
Yes. So sounds good. Another important question is, from a feeder fund perspective, that is Axis, what percentage would be invested in cash and related instruments?
I think the fund will typically try to be fully invested wherever possible. For the purpose of subscription and redemption, we've got a 5% buffer there. Okay. But the endeavor will be to try and maximize the allocation towards the equity fund, the underlying equity fund. So we will keep some degree of cash for redemption subscription, but there's no cash call that we're going to take in this fund.
Okay. And on similar lines as what you answered in case of the geography bit, the sectoral composition would also be agnostic, right? I mean, subject to opportunities available.
Yes. So okay. It's rather than talking about it from a top-down approach, we believe that a bottom-up approach makes a lot of sense, because disruption is coming from anywhere. So whether you're looking at Chile, or whether you're looking at Japan, or whether you're looking in South Africa, or whether you're looking in Poland, or for that matter, even in India, you are seeing sporadic opportunities everywhere. And entrepreneurship, that it doesn't have like a religion or a location where it comes from. It just comes anywhere. And by virtue of that, we want to be as unconstrained as possible to target these kind of opportunities. And many of these are maybe once in a lifetime opportunities that, as investors, we should really participate. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very agnostic, very unconstrained rather. And yeah, we're very excited about it.
Absolutely. And there are good reasons behind it as well. Another question is, what would the expense ratios be for direct and regular plans, all inclusive, taking into account the expense ratio of the mother fund as well?
Yeah, so SEBI does allow us to have certain limits. So that limit for us on the regular plan side would be around 2.25% in that ballpark region. And to that extent, the direct plan should have somewhere around 1.5% or so as an expense ratio, all inclusive.
Okay. And lastly, in conclusion, some thoughts on the mother fund and its capabilities. We know Schroders is a big brand, but what really distinguishes it in case of a field like innovation?
Yeah, I mean that is something that I wanted to talk to you about quite at depth. So Schroders, if you were to look at it, has been around for a while. So it's been around for about 200 years. They manage about $650 billion in assets under management. And so, I saw your eyebrows rise. I mean, that is probably larger than the entire mutual fund space today in India. So yes. It's a very, very sizable business operation that they're running. And that scale gives them a lot of opportunities to participate in a strategy like this, or create a strategy like this because they've got presence everywhere. So while they're based out of London, they've got about 37, 38 offices pan India with about 5,500 professionals. And that sort of scale is very hard to beat. And for a fund like this, or to manage and run a fund like this, you need to keep your eyes and ears to the ground, right? So if with that complete ecosystem in place, they are able to identify a lot of these opportunities, well ahead of someone like us who's sitting based in India and who may not have the access to a lot of the resources that a company like Schroders may have. And talking about disruption and innovation, they've also innovated quite significantly on their investments style and allocation. They're using a lot of AI. They've got a data insights team that is very, very attuned to what are the emerging trends, the investment landscape and the economic landscape. So all of these things that culminate together, they give the fund manager a lot of one-upmanship in terms of identifying these new trends at a very, very early stage. And that is why we believe that this strategy can work both on the capability side of things as well as the performance side of things. So that is why we actually selected this fund from their rather vast, basket of products.
And to add to that, it has a proven record of outperformance, which you alluded to earlier in the conversation.
Yes.
And this is definitely a good opportunity for Indian investors looking to diversify geographically and with a good brand, with one with a proven record.
Yeah.
So I think with that, all the pertinent questions in the context of the NFO have been answered by you comprehensively, and I'm sure everyone will find these insights very useful as well. Would you like to express any concluding thoughts?
Yeah. So I think at iFast and their partners, they've been at the forefront of mutual fund distribution and identifying a lot of these innovative themes that mutual funds are offering these days. This again is one such opportunity for your team and your members to participate wholeheartedly, and we really thank you for your participation in educating investors, in trying to get them on board in understanding what's best for their portfolio. The Global Innovation Fund is just one other fund that we are offering from the overseas basket. And at Axis, we've really tried, and that has been the hallmark of our team courtesy, the senior management, to try and specialize in certain strategies and certain products, and overseas just being one of them. So today, for example, we are one of the largest asset managers in terms of overseas investments. And that has been true because of partners like you who've supported us through the last couple of years. And we really thank you for that. So, I mean, the Innovation Fund is live currently and ends on the 21st of May. I think that's that. I mean, happy selling.
Thank you very much, Shane, for those encouraging words. And we truly believe that this is a high conviction product, which everyone should indeed take note of. And I think everything that has been discussed in this brief session should only help build the confidence in the advisor as well as the investor fraternity as a whole. So,
thank you. Thanks for that.
So on that note, we shall end this session. Thank you once again for taking out time and sharing your insights. And we wish you all the very best in the context of the NFO.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, Shane. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.